equivalent fractions. On the screen, you see fraction strips. And over here on the left, you can see the number of pieces that each strip has been broken into. So we go from no pieces, which is just one big piece really, down to 10 small, equally sized pieces. But I want you to look at the spots where we can cut these fraction strips in half. It doesn't happen on every strip, right? So we see that we can cut this strip in half here. That's our halfway point. And we can see that we can follow that down and we can find half on all of these strips, right? So the strip that here where we can find half, if we shade in 1/2, we're shading in 1 out of 2 pieces. The next strip that we can find 1/2 is the 4ths strip. And if we shade 1/2 on this strip, now we've shaded in 2 out of 4. The next strip that we find 1/2 is the 6th strip, and we would be shading 3 out of 6 to show 1/2. And then we've got the 8ths, and we'd be shading 4 out of the 8 on that strip. And then the last one that we can show 1/2 is the 10th strip. And if I shade half of the 10th strip, I would have to shade 5 out of the 10 pieces. Right, so now let's look at where we could shade maybe a third. Right, those are going to happen on different strips, but maybe some of them will be the same. So let's check it out. So here's the third mark, right? Here's where 1/3 is. And if I follow down, that also appears on the 6th strip and the 9th strip. So on the 3rd strip, when I shade in that one piece, I'm shading in 1 out of 3. On the 6th strip, where I shade in 1/3, I'm shading 2 out of 6. And then on the 9th, where I shade in 1/3, I'm shading in 3 out of 9. Right, but all of those are showing a third, but I had to shade more pieces because they were broken into smaller pieces, right? So to show 1/3, I had to shade 2 of them on the 6th line, and I had to shade 3 of them on the 9th line. So the reason why these different fractions mean the same amount of shading is because they're equivalent fractions. So in looking at equivalent fractions, here's the ones that we just looked at, that we just shaded. And 1/2, I saw, on the first strip that I shaded half, I shaded 1 out of 2. But then when I got to the 4th strip, I had to shade 2 of them. And if I take 1/2 and I multiply the top and the bottom by 2, then I get 2/4. Right? Then I can keep going. If I want to get 3/6, I can again start with 1/2, multiply the top and the bottom by 3 to get 3/6. Same thing for 4/8. 1/2, multiply the top and the bottom by the same number to get 4/8. I could have also multiplied this one, 2/4, by 2 on the top and bottom. As long as you're multiplying the fraction by the same number on the top and the bottom, what you are going to create is an equivalent fraction. So the last one down here is 5/10. So if I start with 1/2, I can multiply on the top and the bottom by 5 and get 5/10. All right, let's look over on the other side. So 1/3, if I multiply 1/3 top and bottom by 2, I get 2/6. 1/3, multiply top and bottom by 3, and I get 3/9. So we can create equivalent fractions by multiplying a fraction by the same number on the top and the bottom. Another way that we can get equivalent fractions is by writing something in simplest form. So sometimes we have a fraction that has already had the top and bottom multiplied by something, and we want to go back, sort of like if we were going back from 5/10 to 1/2. This is also called reduce. It's also called simplify, also called lowest terms. All of those phrases mean the same thing. They all mean simplest form. So to do simplest form, I have to try to think of a number that's divisible by on both the top and the bottom. So in this case, both of these numbers are even. So I can divide by 2 and divide by 2. And when I do that, 24 divided by 2 is 12, and 30 divided by 2 is 15. I can do it again, right? I can divide by 3 this time and divide by 3. And now I get 4/5. Now, you may notice I took 2 steps to get to simplest form. I divided by 2 and I divided by 3. So does that mean that if I had divided by 6, 2 times 3, in the first step, I would have gotten there quicker? Let's see. So if I start back with 24/30, but this time, instead of dividing by 2 and then dividing by 3, what if I divide by 6 right from the beginning? Well, 24 divided by 6 is 4, and 30 divided by 6 is 5. So I got to the same answer, but I got there in one step. And the reason I got there so much faster is because 6 is the GCF of 24 and 30. So if you need a little refresher on GCF, go check out the GCF video. But if you divide by the GCF when you're simplifying fractions, you'll get there in one step.